Okay. So first of all, thank you all for being here, and thank you so much for inviting me, Rafaela. It means a lot to me to be the first guest in your new place. Yeah, since I witnessed how Art Cafe was growing in Dalian next door, and now I can sit so far away from you, but still I'm there, and it's so nice also to see some faces I remember, of course, and yeah, so good to see you all, and so spread over the world. This is crazy. To those who don't know me yet, I will say a few words before what I do, where I come from. So I grew up in the Bavarian countryside in a very scenic mountain area called Bavarian Forest. And you will see in the next few slides that the colorful blue sky and nature is always kind of a basic thing in my paintings. I had a very happy childhood. Also, this is like an anchor for my artwork. I'm very lucky for this, I know. And yeah, so I am an artist on one hand, but I used to be a teacher, secondary school teacher, before we went to China. And I am a writer. I did a book, and I'm an illustrator from time to time. And I'm also lately a country house interior designer. I collect a lot of vintage stuff, and we rebuilt this house we are living in now. So this was very basically in my work the last 3 years. I did not do so much new artwork, but I did a few. And what I did is kind of a personal development, but I will tell you later about this a little bit. Yeah, and I'm a mom of a 6-year-old energy fireball. Yeah. For those who knew me from Dalian, so I left when my daughter was 6 months old roundabout, and now she's starting school. Yeah, and I will tell you a little bit about how artist life is to me. To me, it is not to create paintings every day or to do books and all the stuff I just told you. For me, it's a kind of a life attitude, I would say, to go through our world with very open eyes. For example, if I am in a new city or in a new place, even in my place I know, the camera lens is always with me. I take a lot of picture to see more of the small details, the small beauty and poetry in everyday life. This is very important for my mental health every day. When you get so much news from the world which is making you anxious, it's nice to put your feet on the ground, take the lens, and check out what beautiful stuff is around you, or beautiful people, or something like this. Yeah, so, and what I do as a collagier, as I call my profession a little bit, not just artist, but I'm very specialized in collage. You can see in the first slide. I will talk about this in the next slides.
I don't.
Yeah. So as you can see, my technique, which I developed at university time, is a complete match of painting and collage. It's not just sticking and gluing text fragments or figures. It is about overpainting and layering. And in the end, I would say I create my own happy life world. Some artists paint when they are sad, and I paint maybe when I'm sad, but I create happy stuff to make me more happy, or to express the happy things I am surrounded with. This is an old painting, a very old one, but I can explain a little bit. So in my paintings, you will always find black and white as basic colors, plus X, I would say. I try to keep the colors not too many sometimes. For example, this is based on black, white, plus some kind of Turkish and reds and how to say ochre. I don't remember. English ochre is it? Yeah. And in the background, you can see some text fragments from old magazines. All right. Yeah. So this is a new one. It's a triptych. It's 3 square paintings, but they fit together. And here it is about playing around with more colors, with perspective, and also with some topics. So on the right one, this lady, it looks like street fashion photography, but I was a little bit meditating about my thoughts about God. So this is kind of a Godish version, including the stars, the sun, the moon, all in one. So it's about the whole thing where all the energy goes out to us, maybe. And in the middle, the cat. I love cats, you know, the people who know me, it's a basic thing surrounding me. And I love the way cats look at us, look at the world. They seem full of dignity and wisdom and knowledge. And the series of paintings is called Via Farfalla. I hope I pronounce it right, Rafaela. So Butterfly Lane, kind of. It's also related with my new profession. So it's about death, but also rebirth, the transformation we have in life. The butterfly, which is a good example, I would say, for the most impressive transformation we can witness in nature. And in Greek mythology, it was already the symbol for eternal soul because of its transformation. Yeah, I play around also with everyday topics. Maybe you can show already the next slide. Yeah, so it's everyday life. It's walking through the street, going to cafes. Also the butterfly again. In the back, there is some dish soap or some, I don't remember even which soap it was, but in the same size like a house. So I don't take proportions too serious. I love to switch them around. And in this painting, there's something new I tried. It's some rust I tried, some oxidation experiments. And this is now growing more and more to my mixed media thing. I'm just checking if I missed something. So it's behind every painting, there's some personal emotions or experience, but I also like it if people find their own associations in my paintings. Everyone is free to think about which story could be behind. I rarely put explanations next to my paintings in exhibitions. It's just everyone can see whatever they need at this very moment. And I never plan the outcome. It's always a process which grows. I search in old magazines and I cut out and I stick and then I paint again. And so it's a process going on and I never know before what kind of painting will be there. And if I paint on paper, sometimes I also cut it completely and create new pieces out of it. So collage is a very flexible media, I would say. All right, maybe the next one. Okay, so just very quick to this one. This one I was painting in China after watching the biography of Edith Piaf, La Vie en Rose, maybe you know this movie. And this is just my feelings after watching the movie. It's the feelings I had about the colors, about her as a very, very modern woman in a very hard surrounding. And I found this photo of Wanda. So the person on this photo, it was really existing. Her name was Wanda, and she lived in Munich. And this is exactly her accordion. And she died at a very early age. I don't know what happened to her, but she always was in my photo studio kind of present, and this was the place I wanted her to be. The next slide, please. Yeah, so this is Mila, my cat. She was living with me in Dalian. and also joining my exhibition sometimes and joining the art cafe several times. And this is my love to everyday life, to fresh flowers in my place, and some cappuccino, and yeah, being surrounded with my vintage stuff. Next one. Okay. So since I'm back in Germany, I did some art workshops. I was working for an institute. It was called Artist Travel. So you could travel with me to places, and I did some art workshops. I taught people how to do my technique. But the most important thing I was confronted with was, I am not a creative person. So nearly every single one of my clients told me this. And in my opinion, everyone is creative. And just while growing up and having this all hectic adult lifestyle, we lock up this kind of easiness we have as children, the playfulness and the wildness of soul. And in my workshops, I had to dig out this lost, forgotten creativity, and I helped to let it grow again. And I would say I send people out to an adventure playground they are familiar with because they have been there maybe in their childhood, but they forgot it in adult life. And the most important thing is to keep out the urge to be perfect, because this keeps us from being creative. And once this kind of step happened, people explode and go wild, and they don't need to feel the urge to be a princess and to please everybody. They can be wild or playful or whatever they want to do. And yeah, and then the art is all theirs. And this is for me always the most amazing experience, when people dive into their creativity and discover new sides in themselves. Yeah, and also there's no anxiety like plain white paper anxiety with collage painting, since I always paint already over stuff. And yeah, so there's already colorful material there, and that makes it very much easier to start a workshop for everyone. Yeah, that's it for my workshop thing. And here you can see now my new profession, which is now today the first time I talk in public about it. I did already some sessions with clients, but I never showed it in public what I do there. So I explain first how I got to do this. 2020, in the middle of the lockdowns, I found in Hamburg, in Germany, an amazing person. Her name is Annemone Zeim, and she has I would say, a grief counseling agency, kind of. She does amazing grief counseling in a creative way. It comes because she also was a designer before. So this we had in common, and I felt very attached to this when I came across it. And yeah, and then I decided to do a 1-year grief counseling training with her. She just started to train some classes. I was in a class with 9 other ladies, and it was an amazing experience. And what came out then is that I am now a certified, I guess, grief counselor. But when her way of modern coaching methods met with my attitude about art, this came out. I discovered that this power of healing, the healing power of art, let's say, which was always already in the workshops existing, now could grow in a more focused way, I would say. Yeah, and maybe we can already go to the next slide. And now what I do is creative grief coaching, I call it, because counseling is more theoretical for me. I love to combine both. So if people have some grief issues, or we talk later about this, what kind of grief it can be, I we talk, but there's not, it is not necessary to talk right away. People can just start working with me together. And I also work. So it's not I watch them working, but we both work together with special methods, and then they find a source to express their actual issues. Exactly. Yeah. So let's talk about my definition of grief. So grieving or grief about something or for something is not just the passing of dear friends, partners, or family members. This can, of course, be, and this is most times a part of it. It can also be the loss of a baby or abortion or whatever happens in life. Yeah, it's fine, Rafaela, you can keep on going. It can be also a job change or a job loss or any other daily change we are sometimes facing. It can be aging and midlife crisis, and not just, I don't mean aging just with in my age, like 45, getting the wrinkles and not getting along with it. I also mean aging like the aging of a kid. For example, I have a single kid, and now she's 6 years old, and my baby is gone. So also coping with letting go the baby from time to time, and even the empty nest syndrome is something people sometimes don't dare to talk about, but still it is a big, painful thing in life. So there are so many family issues which can be a topic for grieving. And I, of course, specialize a little bit on pet loss, since I had such a deep relationship with this special cat which accompanied me to China. And I realized when she passed, that talking about it, that I'm super, super sad because my cat died, is, I don't know how it is in your countries, but in Germany, it's sometimes okay to talk about, but sometimes it's kind of a taboo topic. And it shouldn't be, because this is such a partner sometimes in life, especially for people who don't have kids. It's sometimes like kid-like, or at least like a very deep family member. And it's important for those people also to be able to cope with this kind of pain. Yeah. So it is all about to get a nice way coping with transformations and changes in life. And of course, the actual grief, Yeah. So I will show you from my daily practice and my sessions one of my favorite methods I learned at Anemone's place. She also has some kind of relation to China and Japan, I guess. So I'm so glad she chose kintsugi. I don't know if you know the kintsugi technique. Originally, it is a Japanese art of putting together broken pottery pieces back together with gold. And then the damaged good turns into a unique piece of art. It is already a little bit about embracing the beauty of imperfection and see the value in that. But in my setting, as a creative visualization of kintsugi, it looks like this. And now, Rafaela, it's your turn. Okay, so I work very symbolic with people, and we work, of course, with paper and colors and my usual material. And we put all the feelings, all this emotion, all the grief in the paper and rip it apart very, how to say, frankly and really in a brutal way. Like life is sometimes brutal with us. And then we take a look at the wounds, at the scars. And of course, it's a point where people also can talk about their actual pain, what's behind it. But it's not necessary to do this. And then we add some gold and we patch it together and add some color and glitter and paint over it. And during this session, so much stuff pops out. So sometimes if I say ahead, you don't necessarily talk. This is the point when people drop all of this out, which they never could talk about before. So this is like an amazing transformation already to see for me. Yeah, and this is then how the power of art helps healing those wounds. Yeah, and neon is new in my color palette, I would say. It came through my training with Anemone, and I think neon and grief is a perfect match. Because one sentence about this, I experienced, at least in Germany, that for people who mourn or mourning people, color is kind of a taboo thing. They are like socially not allowed anymore to wear color or to do colorful stuff. So this is especially why I think it's necessary to work with this kind of powerful tool. Yes, yeah, and every single piece of those ripped pieces of paper you can also translate into your pieces in life, of course. And what can you do with those pieces in life? You cannot throw it away. That's not possible because they would still be there. And if you try to put them under the carpet, you will stumble over it, of course, one day. And it's also not a possibility at all. So you look at the shards, add some gold, put the broken pieces together, and let those wounds heal. And then it's a unique piece of art. And everyone has a unique piece of art because nobody has the same shards in life. All right. The second favorite method of mine is the art journaling. I did it already during university times, but I stopped it because I don't know why this adultness and this whole serious life came in between. And through my training, I discovered it again for myself. And I did this book on this photo completely from page 1 to the very end. I was using it as a daily meditation. I chose this vintage book because I love vintage illustrations, and especially this title was very matching with my topic. The topic was about kind of a transformation from life to death and what's all behind it. It's like it was like a meditation thing. And it's the title is Leb wohl, Elke. Elke is a German woman's name, and Leb wohl is kind of a farewell, but you might not see the person again. The person, of course, will still be somewhere, but maybe you won't meet each other again. All right, so next one. Okay. So for me, the art journaling opens up a space and kind of a time slot in this hectic life, I would say. It is, as I said, a kind of daily meditation on our emotions, challenges. It can be also just the mood of the day. And in this book, I just did, I think, 10 minutes a day. And it's a very short slot, but it's super, super effective. If there's already some text in a book, like in this one, I love to do the blackout poetry, which is a super creative and fun thing to do. So I black out some words and I just let some there, and some kind of lyric or poem is the outcome then. Here it's like a small short story about this lady, maybe. Exactly. Yeah, and I keep on sticking in things. For the blackout poetry on this page, I can read to you. It's what I left is Himmel zersprengen schmerzende Pein. It's very hard to translate, but I would say kind of heaven dashes suffering pain, maybe. And this day I was also thinking about my own grief, about a very dear friend which passed away, or who passed away. And she used to be a dancer, and I was just thinking of her now after all this pain she was going through, be feeling light and maybe dancing around me or somewhere. It was like a color poem meditation this day. And I discovered that tears dissolve perfectly in paint and transform magically into art. And dissolving, I mean, like the old masters dissolved the powder, the paint powder, with water and oil. Tears also do this. On this one, I use the Stevie Wonder song, I Just Called to Say I Love You. Sometimes if somebody passed away, we would love to be able to call this person. And I personally, I keep also the WhatsApp messages and the voicemails. And yeah, and this day I heard the song in the radio, and then I sat down and I did this painting. And the neon colors, this power of those colors, they help me to shut off the rush of my thoughts. And then I just work with my gut instinct. I don't think anymore. It just happens. And it's my personal space. I share it with you now, this personal diary, but it doesn't need to be pretty. It's just for the moment. Yeah, here again, my kind of thinking that it's so important to make some room for playful, creative fun. And it's important to keep, especially for me, my own mental health and a balanced soul, but it also works for other people. And it's really, really a great tool to use this. It can be super freeing, and there are no limits because there are no rules to do it. Everyone can use the palette, colors, whatever they want. They can even destroy the diary. And it's, I would say it's an opportunity for our soul to express and to let it all out. Yeah, and creativity is my personal witchcraft and superpower. It's a magic tool to cope with daily issues and to breathe through rough phases in life. And I want to pronounce very, very, how to say, it's very deep from my heart. It's not my superpower, not just mine. Everyone has it, really everyone. And sometimes it's just sleeping inside you, and it needs a wake-up call. And this is what I do. I am the hotel reception, and I do the wake-up call for your creativity. Yeah. So this is not exactly our house, but very similar to the place we have now. So I wanted to have a big house with a lot of room for people to come over to work with me. And I am very lucky because there's also a place that people can stay with us. I created a little bit of creative hideaway, kind of a B&B apartment. It's next to my art studio, which starts in September. And you can come here and do an art retreat. So we are based like half an hour from Munich, half an hour from the airport. You feel free to text me if you want to come. Rafaela tried this, she will tell maybe later. And of course, since you are so spread over the world, I also do online coaching. And since my training the whole year with Hamburg was also mostly online, I know that this works great, and we can also work creative. I will let you know ahead what kind of material you need, but it's so easy. It's like whatever you have, watercolors from your child or whatever we can use. And then on Instagram, I'm called Madame Collagière, and I am very lazy in doing regular posts, but I'm very busy with my story. I love to do the story. I don't know why, it's just like a habit in the meantime. So you can see nearly every day what's going on with my art, what I do, where I am, and so on.
Thank you.
Thank you for hearing.